The show is yours. Would you like this?
Hold that, just like that.
And you have the ability for the mic? Right, excellent. Please.
All right.
Welcome to our friends from the Connecticut Foodshare.
Can we get one in front of the banner?
There.
Yeah, you get one in front of the banner.
Oh, in front of the banner. Well, we can do that after.
Okay.
Okay. And Connecticut Foodshare today gets their share, not food share, of the net proceeds from our October 2021 Reservoir Run, which is a check for $12,000, which is exactly half of the net proceeds. And that happens to have been the second highest net proceeds we've gotten from the Reservoir Run in the last 10 years. Amazing during the pandemic that it was so successful, and largely thanks to the work of several members who spent meetings week after week from I think February until the run in October, planning it, developing it, getting sponsors, and of course Paul Schultz, who did the lion's share of arranging with the runners and getting their involvement and participation. So we're very pleased with that and look forward to what will be the next Reservoir Run, already being worked on for October of 2022.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. You need that too.
Yeah, we're thrilled. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, so
So
up
Cheryl's
there,
gonna- right?
we can probably minimize this so you see your presentation when you're speaking.
Okay.
But of course, I can't drive it.
Cheryl's
Okay.
driving
We
today.
got it. All right, there we go.
So thank you so much. I'm Bev Catchpole. I'm the Chief Giving Officer at Connecticut Foodshare. And Arlene and I, and Cheryl, of course, are thrilled to be here today. I wanted to start off by just thanking you so much for being a steadfast supporter of ours, and for, I know all the work that goes into the Reservoir Run, and so we're very grateful for your continued support, so thank you. So I thought I'd just give a brief presentation about who we are and what we do. And so, starting out with just who are we? We are 117 staff members. We've got dedicated board members like Arlene, and we have thousands of volunteers who power our work at Connecticut Foodshare. We provide food to anyone in Connecticut who is in need through a network of more than 700 partner programs. So those partner programs are food pantries, shelters, meal programs, and our mobile distribution sites, which I'll talk about in a second. So Connecticut Food Bank and Foodshare combined and merged in February of 2021, so just over a little over a year ago. And it's our 40th anniversary, actually. Both food banks in the state, Foodshare, which was in Hartford and Tolland County, and Connecticut Food Bank, which had the other balance of the state, we are both 40 years old. And so this is our 40th anniversary year. And so that's great. So, 1982. And now we serve the entire state. So we're also a member of Feeding America. We're one of 200 food banks in the Feeding America network. And Feeding America is the second largest charity in the country now. We used to be third. We moved up to second place during the pandemic. And so as a member of the Feeding America network, we have access to national food producers and retailers. We get financial support from Feeding America through a competitive grant program. And we get advocacy at the national level, so working with the federal government to advocate for our cause of hunger relief. We also get best practices and advice on anything from operations to food sourcing to how we do our fundraising. So what is it that we actually do? Our mission is simple. It's to provide nutritious food to people in need. So that's most of what we do is just provide food. We're also working to end hunger and food insecurity through collaborations with other organizations engaged in anti-poverty work. With the legislature, we have partnerships with state lawmakers, we work with the governor, we work with the Department of Agriculture, And right now, as a merged organization, we're working on a strategic plan. We're looking ahead 3 years. And we want to not only feed the line, but we want to look to ways to shorten and actually eliminate the line. So we're doing some exciting new work as a merged organization. So what does the need look like? What does hunger look like in Connecticut? Actually, 1 in 7 individuals, or 12% of our Connecticut population, is food insecure. And that includes 1 out of 6 children. So that's 15%. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, that 1 out of 6 children in our state go hungry. We have to do better. So 45% of the food insecure population are not eligible for federal support. They're not eligible to get support, so we fill in that gap at Connecticut Foodshare. 10% of our population in Connecticut is in poverty, which is again hard to believe, 1 in 10. And 18% of our Black population live in poverty, and 22% of our Hispanic population. So we have work to do. So what are we doing right now to help? There are 3 ways that we work at Connecticut Foodshare. We get food in 3 ways. We acquire food from large retailers like Stop and Shop and ShopRite and Big Y. And we get donations from Costco and Walmart, and also local food farms and food sources and farms supply us with food. We also receive food from the federal government, and that's earmarked for low-income families. And the 3rd way that we get food is that we purchase it to fill in those gaps. And this year, our budget to purchase food alone is $5 million. Now, our old model was most of our food came from donations and the government, but as a result of the pandemic, we've had to purchase more food. And donations and support like yours helps us buy the food that we need. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy food in our previous model, and now it's millions of dollars to buy food. We take that food and we warehouse it and distribute it from our headquarters in Wallingford. And our partner programs then take that food that we give them, and we can either deliver it or they pick it up if it's a large order from our 3 facilities. We have a Wallingford headquarters, we have a headquarters in Bridgeport, and we have an outpost, in Bridgeport, and we have another outpost in Bloomfield, which is near Hartford. And we can deliver it, or our agencies can pick it up. And then those partner agencies distribute the food to our clients, to people who need food. So I wanted to add one more note on the amount of food that we deliver. When we purchase food, the pre-pandemic levels were, the need was around 400,000. Then it went up to 500,000 people in the state who needed food. And now it's gone down, but we're still above pre-pandemic levels. So who are our partner programs? They're located all throughout the state. There's 169 towns in the state of Connecticut, and we serve all of them. They include food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and after-school programs for children. We also have a senior box program to help seniors specifically. And about 85% of what we distribute is through these partner programs. So I mentioned that we do direct service to clients, and that's our mobile pantry. And mobile pantries fill in the gaps where our brick and mortar agencies are not located. So if there's a lot of service in one area and not in another, we can fill that service with our mobile pantries. They deliver directly to communities that are in high need, or they don't have many grocery stores, or they don't have a pantry. During the pandemic, from April of 2020 through October 2021, we operated drive-through distribution sites, and they were all over the state. So they ran from Hartford to Norwalk to New London, and the people could drive in, pop their trunks, and we would just load food in and they would drive away. And that was wonderful because there was no contact during the pandemic, and we had to be careful when we distributed food. We also partner with wraparound services like healthcare providers, and they offered COVID-19 tests and some vaccinations at some of our mobile sites. So what can we do? What are some more ways that we can help with food insecurity? So I mentioned that we want to not only feed the line, but shorten the line. And we want to get to the root causes of food insecurity, so our neighbors have consistent, reliable sources of nutritious foods. Factors like poverty, lack of affordable housing, high child care and medical costs, mental illness, and underemployment lead to food insecurity. We also work with the federal government. They help us with SNAP, which stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. There's outreach teams that we have for individuals and families who qualify. We help them sign up and learn about their SNAP benefits if they're eligible. We also receive food from the Emergency Food Assistance Program. It's called TFAP. That's another federal program that provides food. It's earmarked for low-income individuals who qualify, and it accounts for about 25% of our distribution. We have a senior box program that provides monthly food for over 1,500 seniors throughout the state. We're also finding ways to change the hunger landscape, so we're looking at innovative ways to solve the problem. We're reaching out to our network of partners with tools and collaborations to help clients end their cycle of food insecurity. We are empowering our pantries to do more. We're building their capacity. We just did a distribution with freezers and refrigerators to pantries so they can house frozen good food and also store fresh produce. Some of our pantries did not have that capability. We also have an Institute for Hunger Research and Solutions, and that's within Connecticut Foodshare, and it's a think tank that focuses on nutrition and addressing the root causes of food insecurity. That's also a national, it's within Connecticut Food Bank, but our director, Dr. Katie Martin, is working with other food banks in the Feeding America Network on a national level to bring that support to pantries. And as a result of our work and the work with the Institute, we've adopted, and our board has just approved, a nutrition policy. So we're placing focus on highly nutritious food. Food is great, but nutritious food is even better. And so we're looking at ways to make sure that people have the nutrition, not only the food that they need, but the nutrition that they need. Last year, 35% of our food distribution was produce. So we're trying very hard to emphasize the nutritional aspect of the food we deliver. So who powers our work? Volunteers. We could not accomplish our work without our volunteers. Volunteers inspect our food, they sort through it, they repack it, they rescue food from retail grocery stores and deliver it directly to our agencies. They staff our mobile pantries and help distribute food. They even help in our offices, providing administrative support. We have some people that come into our office every week and help us enter gifts into our system. And in fact, last year their work equaled the equivalent of 31 full-time employees. So we have a pool of thousands of volunteers, and we could not do our work without them. We also have an incredible staff at Connecticut Foodshare. We're headquartered in Wallingford, which is about an hour north of here, and there are many volunteer opportunities there to sort and pack food or work in our administrative offices. We also like to, if you have anything that you can offer us in terms of expertise in a certain area, we'd love to chat with you as well to find out if you could help us through a gift in kind. So that's wonderful. Our Bridgeport facility, it has our senior box program, and you can volunteer there on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. You can help us pack food for seniors. And you can sign up to rescue food and take that food from the grocery stores to pantries directly. So just ways that you can help are to volunteer. I just mentioned some opportunities. I have some business cards if you'd like to chat with me afterwards. Love to get you on board with helping us in a volunteer capacity. You can also donate. We have a website that's up and running, and we're refreshing it. It's going to be refreshed on July 1st. So we'd love you to visit that and donate to us if you'd like to do that. And the most important way you can help us is to advocate. You can tell people about our talk today. You can tell people that we would love to, if they'd like to learn more, they can visit our website, they can come and see us in Wallingford, and to advocate for hunger relief. So, thank you once again. It was wonderful to speak with you and tell you a little bit about our work. As I said, I have some business cards. I'd love to chat with you afterwards if you'd like to find out more. But right now, I'd like to introduce Arlene Putterman, who joined the board in 2010. And I've been with the organization for 7.5 years. So Arlene, before me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well done, Bev. I'm the veteran here.
Yeah, you are.
Well, it's true. See, I don't need notes when I'm sitting here talking about myself. But Bev was right. I started working with the Connecticut Food Bank at that time in 2010 when I joined Stop and Shop Corporate, and I was the Public Relations and Community Relations Manager for Stop and Shop New York Metro Division, which included New York, New Jersey, including Westchester, up to Hudson Valley, and the state of Connecticut. And it covered a lot of territory. And then in 2016, I decided I was going to retire, and everybody laughed. Yeah, right, you're going to retire. Well, I didn't really retire because when I left Stop and Shop, I became the manager of a program that Stop and Shop Family Foundation ran, and it was called Fighting Child Hunger Grant. And so therefore, I started working with 24 food banks from Massachusetts all the way down to Maryland. And that was the most amazing experience of working with so many different food banks, and all of them having to submit proposals on how they were going to spend the money for fighting child hunger. So I did that for 2 years, and then I sort of retired again. And in between there, I became a member of the board. I think I've been on the board for, I want to say over 7 years or something. I've lost count. It has been the most incredible experience of my life. I can honestly say it's the best job I've ever had. Even though I don't get paid, what I get out of it is from the heart. And what it's all about is giving back. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate what the food banks are doing and the response from people who are receiving our food and our services, that it just makes you want to go out again and again. And I had attended one of those mobile pantry sites, and I was part of the distribution center. And I'll tell you, everybody, the camaraderie is just contagious. And the way people express their appreciation, it just really is very heartfelt. And so, you know, I hope to continue to be a board member for many years until I think my tenure runs out. I am the secretary of the board. And when they appointed me secretary, I said, no, you call me Madam Secretary. So now the CEO will send an email to me and say, Madam Secretary, I need to, okay, we'll see. But, so, I plan to continue my efforts and my time, and it's also worthwhile. So now I just want to talk about the impact of your past grants and, of course, today's grant. Strengthening the network is our biggest focus. We know that strong support of our network of partner agencies, and as Ben mentioned to you, we have how many partner agencies?
Over 700.
Over 700. And that's the best way to serve food insecure families and children. And thanks to the generosity of donors like all of you, the board of directors voted to waive all agency fees, such as annual fees, handling, and delivery charges. Our goal is to permanently waive these fees so that our agencies can dedicate more resources to serving their communities. When we waived these fees, these agencies were so appreciative that they didn't have to spend money on these fees, and they really just showed us that they appreciate what we do and how we can help them serve their communities. Because of our generous donors, we were able to provide $500,000 in grants to our agency partners last year. Thanks to all of the donors and corporations and clubs who raised so much money during the pandemic, we were able to, for the first time that I know, that we were able to give grants back to them. And we gave it back to them to help strengthen their infrastructure. Some of the agencies purchased new refrigerators, others used the money to purchase supplies for distribution during the pandemic. 51 of those agencies are located right here in Fairfield County. And speaking of Fairfield County, I must tell you that I am a native of Stamford, Connecticut, and I am proud of it. And so we're anticipating providing additional grants to our agency partners in the coming months. At the onset of the pandemic, our retail donors, food donors, like Stop and Shop, no longer had food to donate. And as we all know of the supply chain problems, and so, you know, when we can't get food from our grocery stores, you know, that's a problem. And so that forced us to purchase more food than ever before. In fact, in the first 3 months of the pandemic, we spent more on food than the previous year. Now, we're all aware of inequities based upon race, and the pandemic made it more prominent. Today, families with children and families of color suffer from food insecurity at 2 times the rate of their childless and white counterparts. That's why we have embarked on a comprehensive gap analysis of every town, and there's 169 of them in Connecticut. With that data, we will be able to better allocate our resources to the areas that need it most, with an emphasis on highly nutritious food, as Bev was mentioning, and culturally relevant foods that are in demand based on the makeup of the community. Now, we all have challenges, and as you can imagine, our challenges right now include food and fuel. And as I said before about the supermarkets, you know, they have rebounded somewhat, but they're not back to pre-pandemic levels. And as Bev mentioned, our food budget this year was over $5 million. The #1 product most requested by our agencies is frozen meat. And when I was at Stop and Shop, we had a program called Meet the Need program, where we were taking meat off of the shelves before the expiration date, freezing it, and then the food banks would get the food. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore. And we only have bought 90% lean ground beef, again, nutrition. However, due to the spike in price, we are no longer purchasing it. Canned soup, a food pantry staple, is up 12 cents per pound. Pasta sauce is up 20%. Poultry is up to 90 cents per pound. And I could go on, but I know you all feel it when you go food shopping today. Transportation, the other challenge. Well, thanks to our relationship with Feeding America, we can source donated product on a national level. However, we have to pay handling fees and inbound freight for that food. We budgeted $2 million for those fees, but with a trucker shortage and the cost of diesel at over $5 a gallon, that won't be enough. And well, with all that said, we remain hopeful for the future. Thanks to our strong leadership, hardworking volunteers, and mission-driven employees, and especially to committed supporters like all of you, we know that we can end food insecurity in Connecticut. And as you saw this morning here, we have an additional $12,000 from you that since 2016, it comes to a grand total of $65,000 from all of you. So, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the entire staff at Connecticut Foodshare, we are extremely grateful and want to thank you for your hard work, for your support, and dedication. Thank you very much.
Stay up here so that we can, address and take some questions. I have a question for you, because we have our Lashot Town Farm, and I believe they were growing and giving food to your organization. Is that still?
I have to double check that. I heard from Terry Cho, sorry.
Yeah.
Actually heard from Limok's wife, Terry Cho, some time back about organizing that, and I let her know, how to go about getting that food to our Bridgeport facility. I would have to double check to see if that actually transpired or what the status is.
Okay, I'd like to know
I'll
if
find
you
out
can
and
keep in
I'll
touch.
I'll send you
Just to give some background here. So a while ago, I guess it was like at the beginning of the pandemic, the Town Farm had decided that they were going to create additional planting beds and have people in town work those planting beds and grow fresh produce that was then harvested and brought to your organization. So I'm asking about the status of that, because that's something that we can partner with Lashot. It takes a lot of work, not an easy thing. And then sometimes they were like begging for Saturday morning people, because it was like close to 100 degrees. So you got to get volunteers out there to do this stuff, and sometimes it's quite hot. So is anyone here really involved in Lashot that knows anything about that? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah, no, I can speak with Anita, but yeah.
You know what, Denise, I'll contact Terry.
Yeah, we'll find out. Okay.
And see what the status of that is. But
All right.
thanks for reminding me.
Okay. Is there any other questions from the group? Steve?
I need a microphone.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
About 5 years ago, we had a company coming to visit for Thanksgiving, and they were coming the Sunday before, and I said, what am I going to do with them? So I called Cheryl and I said, could we come up and help out? Because Thanksgiving is by far their biggest giving day, giving week. So we went up there, there were 4 of us, Vicki, myself, and our friends. And the first thing we did is we were given 2 tons of potatoes, and we had to put 10 pounds in a bag. So they said, well, you put about 20 potatoes in a bag, gives you 10 pounds. And I was amazed, the potatoes were from my home state of Wisconsin. They trucked them all the way out. And so we got done with that, and we thought, well, this is kind of cool. We just kind of laid back, watched our way working. Well, then he brings in 2 tons of onions. So we had to bag onions, 5 pounds at a time. And there were these rotational things, the high school kids. They go, every kid pick up something, put it in a bag, and they go to the next station, put something in a bag. And then I think you gave away that year like 50,000 turkeys, 20,000 turkeys. It was amazing. This was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The trucks are lined up like a half a mile down the road to pick up their allocations. You have to see that warehouse. I mean, it's really cool to go there and volunteer, especially on Thanksgiving when they're really burdened. But it's just an amazing, amazing operation. Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you. Yeah, last year we distributed over 51,000 turkeys to families in need and raised over $350,000 just for Thanksgiving time, which is our busiest time of year. But the hungriest time of year is the summer, because kids are not in school and they're not able to get that food. So people don't think of us in the summer, but that's actually the hungriest time of year, is the summer. So think about that. And I'd also just like to talk about farms in general. Jason had a staff meeting with our leadership and told us that he's been working with the governor, and we're getting over $250,000 of federal funding to help stimulate local farms in Connecticut and for us to gather food that they don't need, to glean food from that. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, that was great. That's really important for the economy and for us.
Yeah, and it's really just the overall health of our society, because families can't afford to eat well. You know, it's a real problem, because it's connected to a lot of health issues later in life when you are limited in what you can buy. You know, we're accustomed to go to the supermarket, and I go crazy. Anything I see I want, it's in the cart. You know what I mean? Like, and we don't even think about it, but for a lot of families, that's not possible.
Well, a lot of families live in food deserts where there aren't nice supermarkets with fresh produce, and they have to go to the local bodega, and they have, 3 old apples or bananas is their produce, and they have to pick that food that's not healthy and nutritious, so we supplement that.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate everything that you
Well,
do,
thank you.
and thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure all these years to kind of be part of your efforts.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.